All right. Welcome, everyone. Good morning and happy Wednesday to you. Welcome to another live webinar Wednesday, 10 Figure Business Mastery. Good to be with you today. We're going to get this party started. We've been in a conversation about financial literacy. We're going to continue that conversation today. Hopefully, some of the things we've been sharing with you over the last couple of weeks have been helpful with you being able to understand your business to another level, use this information to grow it to a new level, and take your life to a new level as well. So let's get going, guys. Business Mastery Live Wednesdays. This is me, Cheston Bolgen with By the Books Consulting, senior consultant over here. And this is our contact information. You can reach us at 888-4BTB now, right? So if you need help with accounting, QuickBooks Online, we definitely help you with the tax strategy, making sure you get to keep more of your hard-earned money. And then we do some business consulting as well. Quick disclaimer before we get started. The following is for educational purposes only and is not to be considered financial, accounting, or legal advice. Please consult your tax, accounting, and or legal professional for specific advice. And when we're inside of these conversations, we want to make sure that we are delivering things that are going to be the most valuable to you. Okay, so whatever we're talking about here in these conversations, we want to make sure that we're giving you access to things that will help you get to the next level, no matter where you are in your business. Things that will give you key insights, so now you can put boots to the pavement and take new actions, and therefore get new results. All right, so you can do that by reaching out to me on my email or on social media. Okay, you can reach out to me on social media at Your Accounting Superhero. And here it is. It's 10 Figure Business Mastery Group, live webinar Wednesdays. This is the foundation. These are the pillars that we stand on. Number one is intentionality, which is mindset mastery, very important here. Two is financial mastery, something we call financial literacy as well. Three, we have structures or system mastery. And then we have, last but not least, actions, which is execution mastery. All right, we have all of these things going for us. Then there is absolute certainty that you will take your business to whatever levels you want to take it to. All right, so if you're not experiencing any of the results that you really want to have inside of your business, I guarantee you it's in one of these areas. Specifically, number one. So the only limits that you and I have are limits that we place on ourselves. The only limits that you and I have are the limits that we place on ourselves. So once we get access and see the things that we've been putting in our own way, and then put those to the side, at least momentarily, now we can get to do new things. New things, new results. Okay? So any one of these four things out of alignment, most likely that is the reason that you're not getting to the levels of business that you want. All right. So we've been in a talk about financial literacy. Last week we talked about break-even points and income statements. We're going to take this conversation a step further today. We're going to get into some real analytics, some basic analytics for income statements, profit and loss statements, because this conversation is geared toward those of you who have gotten into business and you really haven't mastered this aspect of your business. You might even be confronted when it comes to looking at the numbers, understanding the numbers. What do they mean? How can I use them? Maybe you have not thought that this aspect of business is important. You know it's something that you need to take care of, but it hasn't been prioritized because you figure, hey, as long as I go out there and do what I'm good at, I deliver high quality service to my customers, which is definitely one of the key things in business. But you're thinking as long as you're doing that, then you're good, you're okay. And if you're just doing that, you're going to be missing out on leveling up inside of your business. You're going to be missing out on creating something called ease and flow in your business. And there's going to be a lot of suffering potentiality for a lot of suffering if you don't get to, one, understand how your money is flowing. All right, you're going to be thinking one thing when it's another. So that's what we call a reality gap. We're not inside of reality. And that's going to lead to suffering, right? Suffering and frustration. You're going to wonder, why? Why is this the case? And you're never going to have those answers if we don't get good at reading the numbers, okay? Also, even though we're doing good at providing our service, even though we're hard workers inside of what we do, you may be good at with people and putting systems and structures together with people and making sure that your team is moving forward inside of your business. These are really great things, and it won't have the direction that it could have when we don't have these numbers understood. Right? This provides a point of clarity so that you can make decisions and direct people and move your business in a laser focused direction. Without having this understanding, the financial literacy aspect of your business, then you will lack power, is the bottom line. Like powering your business. Okay, so we want to have all these components together. Trust me, I definitely get the other aspects of entrepreneurship, the other aspects of how you run your business, what that is for you, all of the ups and downs, like the positives that go along with your business, how you feel about it, the passion that you have inside of it. I get that. And I also get some of the things that we go through that cause us to be a little bit down about the process of running our businesses, like the things that, like, man, I'm sick and tired of dealing with this. I really want to move beyond this thing. So how do you do that in the conversation that we're inside of? Okay. So that's what you want to be thinking as we go through this process. How am I going to be using this to propel my business forward? All right. And the thing that you really want to get is that this is your direct access to laser focus. Now, when you have a laser focus, everybody on board, everybody in your team, everybody in your environment, even your customers, stakeholders, you can steer them in that direction of focus. But you had to have that first, okay? And guys, you might notice my name is not Jennifer Carol Bolgen. That is my wife, my partner in business. You might have that seen. You might see that on the bottom of my camera. So just want to make sure you know I haven't changed my name. I've added somebody to my life, which is fantastic. All right, guys, let's move on. I hope that's clear, guys. You guys think, hey, man, what happened? Did he just change his name? No, I didn't change my name, man. I did get married in the last 6 weeks, which is fantastic. All right, guys. So, financial statements. This is the conversation we've been in, financial literacy. And particularly, we were looking at income statements, okay? So, the income statements, just a quick recap. We're not going to get into everything we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. But to recap, the profit and loss, income statement, these are things that lenders will ask for if you're looking for funding. These are things that you'll need in order to file your taxes. Okay, these are compliance things, right? So we need to have these in order to get, we'll stay out of trouble, basically. We need to have these things in order to stay out of trouble so we can file our taxes. And if we're seeking funding, they're going to ask for these things. We'll make sure we have these on hand to provide to the people who want, request, need them. Okay. So this is one of the major things inside of your financial statements, the income statement or profit and loss statement that you will see people ask for. A lot of times what will happen inside of what we do is people come to us and say, look, I'm trying to get a loan, so I need to get an income statement. Can you put one together for me? It's like, okay, yeah, we can do that. And it takes something, right? We got to actually look at all the activity of your business. We have to look at the transaction history, make sure it's classified and categorized correctly so that we get a real good, clear look at what your income statement is. Okay, and that takes some time to put together. It's not something that you come in today and say, oh, I'm going to get this thing today. No, especially if you haven't been in the process of tracking this as you go. Okay, if you don't have a system together like what we're going to look at today, then it becomes something that takes a while to put together. Okay. So the mindset behind that, like when you come to somebody and ask them to put together an income statement last minute because you need to go to your lender or you need to file your taxes, that's something that we want to look at in terms of the mindset. Number one. Number two, um, there's another thing underlying that, saying that, well, this thing is not as important as what it is. Yeah, it's compliance. So we need these things to file taxes. We need these things to submit to our lenders. But more so than that, I want to have this so that I can look at how my business is performing. This is my direct indicator of performance in business. How much did we really do in sales? I'm not guessing about this. I'm not having it in my head, some generic idea. No, I have the reality in front of me with the income statement. How often am I looking at the reality here? Is the question. Think about this, right? Because you go out there and you put a lot of effort, you invest a lot of time, you invest a lot of resources and energy, spiritual, emotional, everything else, into running your business. And you don't know what you don't really want to know what you're getting in return for all of that at any given moment. Right? That's the thing. So I'm speaking to somebody specifically. All right. If you're be with me here, okay? Because this is you. If you're not looking at this, if you're not monitoring, if you don't have the systems in place to track this regularly, it is a self-imposed suffering. Because now we don't have choices. We don't have like things that we can do to transform the trajectory of where it is we're going to go from now. What does that actually mean, Cheston? Well, if I'm not really in reality about what I've been doing up until now, if I'm not taking the time to record this, I'm not taking the time to monitor this and measure this, I'm not going to be able to manage this moving forward. That's just the bottom line. I'm not going to manage it moving forward correctly. It's like I like let's say that you want to be healthy, all right? You want to have the your weight at a certain level. You want to make sure that all of your vitals are working properly. They're actually healthy. You're healthy overall. Well, how do you know? Well, most of us will go to a doctor and do a physical, check in. Twice a year, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. Go and check your going to a doctor, get a physical, right? And the doctor's going to do some things when you go into the office. He's going to take your blood pressure. He's going to take your weight, temperature. Go listen to your heartbeat. And, he's going to ask you to bend down and touch your toes, right? And he's going to do some blood work. He's going to take some blood work to see what the levels of minerals, chemicals, and all the things inside of your blood that are supposed to be at certain levels. Now, they do that for a reason. They do that to be in reality with what your health is supposed to look like. Now, if they did not have those processes and means to measure these things and understand what is within the norm and what it is that we want to actually have inside of those numbers, then we wouldn't have the ability to know whether or not we're tracking well to be healthy. Why is that important? Well, you want to live a long and productive and high quality life. Now, if we don't take the time to do these things and check in, then we're not going to have access to new actions to make sure that we're on target to achieve that in life. You go to the doctor says, hey, look, man, your cholesterol levels are high. Oh, really? Here's what I recommend. Stop eating all the fatty foods. Take out all the sugar. Right? Reduce that cholesterol level. Make sure you go for a walk, maybe 2-3 times a week. That'll help. Now you have new actions to take in order to deliver a new level of health because you know that your cholesterol level is high, and what you want is to bring that down. I'm going somewhere with this, right? You see this. This is very straight. This is very straightforward. I remember when I hadn't gotten diagnosed with some high blood pressure when I was in my late 20s. I was like, what? High blood pressure, man. And at that time, I've never been somebody to eat like super poorly. It's like I'm like vegetarianism, low amounts of meat. I'm not really a heavy drinker. I don't drink a whole lot. If I do drink, it's probably like at New Year's or something like that. Never smoked, whatever. So I live a relatively mindful life when it comes to what I put in my body. And at the same time, I was in my late 20s and I had high blood pressure. It's like, what's going on? So I actually started dealing with that from my late 20s up until my early 40s. I was like, man, why is this like always persisting here? It's like a mystery or whatever. I go to the doctor, they recommend medication. I always wanted to do things naturally, so I take action there. I would alter my diet, up the exercise routine, whatever it was, and nothing ever seemed to actually get it like to the way I wanted it to be, right? But there was something that was missing. It was something like a check-in. I wasn't checking my blood pressure daily. That's what was missing, right? I would wait to go to the doctor, or every once in a while I would check my blood pressure, and I wasn't constantly in reality about it, which didn't give me access to constant actions around it. Finally, it was like magic. I was like, okay, well, why don't I just check it daily and see what's going on? I really want to get this down, is what I said. I created what we call an intention around this thing. I created a clear intention around this thing. It's like, okay, now I'm just going to get this thing down. It's going to be normal, is what I said. Now, before that, mind you, there was nothing I could do. It's like, I've tried everything, is what I said. It was like whatever was going on. It's like, hey, man, I've done it, and nothing ever works. But then I said, I'm taking this on. Okay. When I said I'm taking this on, I found a new action, which was to monitor this thing daily, go in and plan with these doctors and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And now we're going to take all these actions together. And my goodness, life is not a mystery. Blood pressure came down, normalized. First time since that initial diagnosis in my late 20s that it was actually monitored, under control, like regularly, consistently for a whole year at least and more. Now, what is that really? We're in life and we're in business to achieve a certain result. And if I'm not really intentional about the results I'm seeking, I'm not really in reality about achieving those results. It's a crapshoot. I'm rolling the dice. Why roll the dice when we can be certain about things? Income statements, guys, for your business, knowing your numbers. It is important for you to be here in reality with this every single day. What are you looking at every day? If you intend a certain result for your business, this is what you say, then I'm going to look and see exactly what you're doing. Are you looking at these things? Are you monitoring these things? Are you measuring these things? Are you giving yourself access to the reality of it so that you can make choices right now? If you're not doing that, then you're wasting your time. You're wasting your life. You're not in reality about your business, and you're causing your own suffering. That's the bottom line. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at how this is actually going to work line per line. If we're actually looking at an income statement, what does it mean? And I'm going to speak to you guys that have not really had familiarity with reading income statements today. Right? You kind of shy away from these. You kind of shy away from income statements for whatever reason. So we're going to be talking to you. Hopefully, this will be a new level of access for you in your business to be able to get improved results now that you're going to take this on. Okay. So let's take a look. All right, guys. This is an income statement. Hold on a second, man. I gotta fix my settings here, my video settings. For whatever reason, I gotta fix this and see if I can do it. Nope. You're gonna have to be with me on this. I already started the video, so my name is gonna be Jennifer Carroll today. Okay, my Jennifer Carroll Bulgin today. All right. Now, we read this income statement from top to bottom, top line to bottom line. So we've done something here. Now, I'm using a QuickBooks software here. This is a sample company on QuickBooks. Really quick here, just to understand how to set yourself up so that you can read what you want to read. There are settings to this. Now, if you don't use a software like a QuickBooks, that's fine. If you're used to using Excel spreadsheets, that's fine. You just want to format it so that you can see similar things to what we're seeing here today, okay? But if you do use a QuickBooks, it's really easy to come up here to the top of your profit and loss report. This is what we're looking at, is our income statement, which is another name is profit and loss report. We can come here and we can adjust the settings so that we can see the period, okay, which is a year to date, or we can customize it to whatever period we want to see. Then we can display our columns in a certain way where we're seeing the information we want to see. So we're just looking at all the totals here in our columns. But we could see it broken up into what we've done this year to date by quarter or by month. So we can look into the granularity of the month. All right, so we can set it up that way. Okay, we can look at only the things that have values in here. So we can set it up, with just only saying the things that show a particular value. If it's 0, it doesn't show. And of course, we have this set up here to compare it to the overall income and percentage of income. This is our comparison column over here. All right, now we do this for a reason, because we want to see exactly what it is income-wise that we have total. And then we want to see each line item to see how it's impacting the business in relation to the amount of income we generated, okay? So let's actually get into that and see what I mean. All right, so now I know that your business name may not be a landscaping business, and that's okay. You want to think about this in terms of what it is that you do. If you're providing a service, where's your service revenue coming from? If you're selling products, where's your product revenue coming from? If you're a combination of the two, you want to make sense out of that as well as we go through this. So just be here in the conversation as we go line by line. So clarity. We want to have crystal clear understanding of what it is that we're looking at. Sometimes there's so much on a report that it can be confusing. So simplicity is the best thing when it comes to reading financial data. We want to start with the simplicity, and then once we get an idea of the big picture perspective, we can drill in to the details later. Okay? So if we're looking at this company, they have the income broken up into different categories here. Design income. This is what we call a counter income account. Like when we give discounts, it takes away from the income, right? So we want to understand the impact of whatever discounts that we give, because now we can make a new decision saying, okay, well, I don't want to give this much of a discount, or I can afford to give these discounts as an incentive to drive more sales. What's going to work here in your particular situation? So this is a counter income account, so that's why it's negative. Okay, discounts given that takes away from the income. Okay. Then they have landscaping service income. Then they have their income broken up into labor. That the income that they make off of the labor that was provided, they break it up into these separate categories for installation labor and maintenance and repair labor. Then they have a whole group of other services that they monitor in their income statement, pest control services. Then they have sales of product income, and then they have a generic services income section. All right, so there's a lot here, is what I want to say. And when there's a lot here, it can be more confusing than it wants to be. So as the owner of the company, what do you really want to see first and foremost? You want to see like overall performance. How do we really do? Well, we can do this. Income, 10,200. It's really simple, straightforward. This is what we did. Now we can drill down into that later, and there's several different ways to drill down into that through softwares like this. But we want to see exactly how did we perform year to date so far. inside of what we're up to. And we can see this is 100% of income. All right, this is what we're looking at. All of income, 100% of it. This is what we want to see. Then we have something here called cost of goods sold. We call it direct costs to producing income. So we talked about this in prior weeks. We're not going to get too much into it today, but we just know that this is a direct cost. The more I do inside of sales, the more this cost goes up, especially when I have sales related to the products. Products cost me, so that's what the cost of goods sold would be. All right. Now look at this, man. I'm already seeing some things in here. I'm not going to get too much into the analytics of what I see. Okay. But what you really want to know is that you're going to have a gross profit after all of your cost of goods sold, like direct costs. After this is like the gross profit that you make. This is what you get to keep. We talked about this last week, gross profit number. This is the number that we want to really get to. Okay, because this will determine, how much we need to do break even wise. Right. So after this, we need to make sure this covers at least our cost, our operating costs, and then it gives us a profit at the end of the day. All right. So good. Now we can look at all the expenses, line items. So advertising costs, auto and truck expense. There's like automobile expense, like fuel, and there's like a generic amount here as well. So it culminates into a total of that here, which is great. So we can just actually put that here and make it just a specific line item. So we're going to do that and break this into like a simple view here so that it's not going to be too much to look at once. We want to make sure it's just clear on what we're spending. Look at this, guys. We're starting to make sense out of things. The more we just close up, these drop downs, the more we can get real clear on what's impacting our business right now. Okay. So right off the bat, even if I look like to the right here, in terms of percentages, I know that when I come up to a larger number, 9%, boom, job expenses. What is that? Right. Now, job expenses to me is like, well, that's a curiosity now. It's like, boom, that popped out. That's actually relatively a large expense for my business. Why? What is there? Now, if it's job expenses, to me, it's like, well, they'll seem like if I'm doing a job, it costs me to do the job. Why wouldn't that be up here in cost of goods sold? Because those are direct costs. That's my next question, right? But, you want to make sure you fix up the classification so that it's going in the right place so you can see the real data, right? So as you're looking at line per line, these are the things that you want to actually do. Make sure you see what's really impacting your business. Like here's your number one impactor is legal and professional fees. Now, why would that be the case? Could this be the main driver of like what you're spending on your business? That seems out of alignment. Why wouldn't that number be here? Like there's an invert. These are the things that we want to start looking at. I'm not really investing in the growth of my business. I'm investing more in the maintenance of my business. Well, if I don't grow it, there's not going to be much more to maintain. Right. So these are the things that we can actually see for ourselves inside of how we're reading the financial statement, or income statement rather. We can look at, this is another major expense. Here's another major expense, rent. Right. But overall, performance-wise, the NOI, the net operating income, is at 45% for this particular company, which is pretty decent, right? For net operating income, now you get to keep a good amount of money. Not that the money is being managed like how I would say as efficiently as possible inside of here, but at the end of the day, it's doing the job, okay? But then we have all this thing called other expenses. That is another thing here. So is it depreciation? What is it? Miscellaneous. You got to put miscellaneous things inside of your accounting. You never want to do this. You want to understand what it is exactly that's impacting your business. Now, if I'm looking at miscellaneous as almost 30% of what I'm spending money on, well, that's my largest by far impact to my business, and I don't even know what it is because it says miscellaneous, right? So this is how you would start approaching your financial statement, you want to have some crystal clear understanding of what it is that's impacting your business line per line. And if it's not that way, we want to see what we can do to get it to be crystallized so that we know the truth and we're in reality and we can make really good decisions from here. Like, for one, well, I need to review this and make sure I'm not spending so much in legal professional fees as opposed to not spending so much in marketing. If I spend it in marketing and advertising, invest it here, I can grow the business faster rather than just having the bulk of my stuff here or here. Okay. So that's the thing that you would get access to when looking at these profit and loss statements, income statements. All right, guys, it's been great being with you this morning. It is 10:30 Eastern time. We're wrapping this up. We're done. I'm hoping you're getting value out of being able to look at financial statements in this way. I know that I enjoy having these conversations with you and delivering it in a way where it just makes sense. So with that being said, love you guys. See you next week, and I will talk to you then. Take care. Jennifer Carol Bolgen signing off. All right, guys, take care.